There was a season in my life when I had plans, goals, and a full schedule, and still felt completely empty inside. Nothing I accomplished seemed to be enough. And it wasn't until I slowed down and really sat with the teachings of Jesus that things began to shift. Not because of a religious formula, but because his words spoke directly to the things I had been carrying alone. That's exactly what I want to share with you today. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why do I still feel lost? Even when my life looks perfectly fine from the outside? That quiet emptiness. That sense that something is just a little off. It's more common than most people admit. And today, I want to show you that the answer to that feeling has been available to all of us for over 2,000 years. The teachings of Jesus are not ancient relics locked behind stained glass windows. They are living words, still urgent, still relevant, and deeply needed right now. In the middle of so much noise, so many opinions, and so many uncertain paths, his words remain something rare. A reliable source of truth that brings clarity to the mind and peace to the heart. Maybe you're facing doubt right now. Maybe you're carrying a challenge that feels too heavy. Maybe there's just a quiet emptiness that's hard to explain. And often, all we need is one true direction. That is exactly what these teachings offer. A path of real transformation, genuine hope, and lasting purpose. In this video, you and I are going to reflect on 10 teachings that can impact the way you think, act, and live every single day. If any of this resonates with you, I'd love it if you'd like the video and subscribe to Soul Source so you keep receiving content that encourages and deepens your spiritual life. Now, let's begin. The first teaching is this: love God above all things. Jesus said it directly in Matthew 22:37, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. And what's striking about this is what he doesn't say. He doesn't say, love God with your rituals. He doesn't say, impress God with your performance. He says, all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. He's pointing to something total. A relationship? Not a routine. A complete devotion that moves through your emotions, your thoughts, and the everyday decisions that quietly shape your life. And this teaching asks us something uncomfortable. Does God actually come first? Because if we're honest, most of us have let worry, ambition, and distraction quietly take that place. Not dramatically, just gradually. But when God is truly at the center, something shifts. Our choices begin to reflect that love. Our lives gain a kind of direction that nothing else can give. It's in that sincere relationship that we find not just meaning, but peace. The second teaching moves immediately outward. Love your neighbor. Matthew 22:39. Love your neighbor as yourself. And notice how Jesus links this to the first. These two commandments are inseparable. You can't genuinely love God and treat the people around you with contempt or indifference. They are two sides of the same reality. But this teaching challenges something deep in us, because loving our neighbor isn't just a warm feeling. It's practical. It means treating people with respect, compassion, and empathy, especially when it costs us something, especially when it's hard. Loving your neighbor means forgiving, helping, understanding, choosing to act with kindness even when you receive none in return. And when we actually live this way, something happens. We become instruments of something larger than ourselves. Small acts of love move through people's lives in ways we never see. Now, and this is where many of us hesitate, the third teaching: always forgive. In Matthew 18, a disciple asks Jesus how many times he must forgive someone who wrongs him. 7 times? And Jesus says, not 7 times, 70 times 7. No limit. No ceiling. Continuous. ongoing. Forgiveness. And I know that might feel impossible right now, depending on what you're carrying. But here's what Jesus understands that we often forget. Holding on to resentment doesn't punish the other person. It imprisons you. Lack of forgiveness keeps you bound to the past. It prevents you from living in the freedom of the present. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean agreeing with what was done. It means choosing not to keep carrying the weight of that pain. It is, in the truest sense, an act of freedom for yourself. The fourth teaching addresses something every one of us knows too well: anxiety. In Matthew 6:25, Jesus says, "Do not worry about your life, what you will eat, what you will drink, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing?" Now, this isn't Jesus dismissing your real problems. He's not saying your concerns don't matter. He's pointing to something deeper, the way worry tries to convince us that we are the only thing standing between ourselves and disaster. Trusting God doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities. It means releasing the constant, exhausting weight of trying to control what you cannot control. When we live from that trust, we find peace that doesn't depend on our circumstances. Not because the future is certain, but because the one who holds it is. The fifth teaching builds directly on that. Seek first the kingdom of God. Matthew 6:33. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. The question this asks is a deep one. What actually comes first in your life? What do you reach for when you wake up? What guides your biggest decisions? Jesus is saying, make God's kingdom your priority, not as a religious obligation, but as a genuine reorientation of your heart. When God takes first place, he takes care of everything else. This doesn't promise a life without difficulty, but it promises direction, provision, the kind of peace that doesn't crumble when circumstances shift. We're halfway through these 10 teachings, and if any of this is speaking to you, I want to gently ask you to subscribe to Soul Source right now. This channel exists for one reason: to bring you content that strengthens your faith and encourages your walk with God. It means so much to have you here. Now let's continue. Sixth teaching: be humble. Matthew 23:12. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. The world tells us to self-promote, to be seen, to make sure people know our worth. Jesus turns that completely upside down. In God's kingdom, greatness is not found in status. It's found in a simple heart, free from pride, willing to serve. And humility isn't weakness. It's the quiet recognition of where our strength actually comes from. It's knowing that we don't need to push ourselves to the front, because God, in his time, will lift us up. There is a deep rest in that. Seventh teaching: do good to others. Matthew 7:12. In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. Before any action, Jesus invites us to ask a simple question: how would I want to be treated here? And then, to act from that answer. Not just avoiding harm, but actively choosing good. Our instinct is to respond in kind. If someone is unkind, we pull back. If someone is unfair, we match it. But Jesus calls us to break that cycle. To choose a higher path, not because it's easy, but because it's what love looks like in action. Eighth teaching: do not judge. Matthew 7:1. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. Jesus isn't saying ignore wrongdoing. He's saying, stop the harsh, quick, condemning judgment we pass on people whose full story we don't know. We see a moment, and we decide who someone is. But that kind of judgment creates walls. It shuts down the possibility of love and restoration. When we choose not to judge, we create space for mercy, for understanding, for a real relationship. And honestly, it keeps us humble too, because we all need grace. Every single one of us. Ninth teaching. Have faith. In Matthew 17:20, Jesus says, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." Nothing will be impossible for you. A mustard seed is tiny, almost invisible. But Jesus uses it deliberately, because he's not measuring the size of your faith. He's measuring its sincerity. A small but genuine faith is enough. A faith that stays, even in the middle of doubt, even when you can't see the next step. Faith isn't certainty. It's the decision to trust God anyway. And this teaching is a reminder that with God, the word impossible does not have the final say. And the 10th teaching brings everything together. Remain in Jesus. In John 15:5, he says, "I am the vine. You are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in him bears much fruit, for apart from me, you can do nothing." This is perhaps the most intimate teaching of all. He's not describing a rule to follow. He's describing a relationship to stay in. A branch doesn't produce fruit by effort. It produces fruit by staying connected to the source. And the same is true for us. Remaining in Jesus means cultivating a daily relationship through prayer, through His Word, through obedience, not as performance, but as connection. When we stay close to Him, our lives begin to produce things we couldn't manufacture on our own. Peace, love, wisdom, strength. This teaching reminds us that following Jesus isn't just a one-time decision. It's a daily choice to stay connected to the one who sustains us. As we reflect on these 10 teachings, something becomes clear. Jesus didn't come simply to give us a list of rules. He came to transform us. Every word He spoke is also an invitation to live differently, to think differently, to walk closer with God. Maybe one of these teachings landed in a particular way for you today. Don't ignore that. Often, that's exactly where God is calling you to take a step. Not a perfect step, just a real one. Start where you are. Start small. Real change doesn't happen all at once, but it always begins with a decision. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. May the peace of God fill your heart, quiet your mind, and strengthen your faith each day. If this message meant something to you, please like the video and subscribe to Soul Source so we can keep walking this journey together. God bless you. See you in the next one.